For a guy like me, and your eyes are shiny like you don't see. I wish you could be mine for eternity. Could you please be mine? Hey, you trapped my soul, you broke my law. I think you're fake, cause you stole my heart, trapped my soul like a superstar. Start, cause you're my start, cause you're my start, cause you're my start, cause you're my star. You're the perfect person for a guy like me, and I know for sure that we are meant to be. If your heart is locked, then I may have a key. Could you please be mine? Hey, you trapped my soul, you broke my law. I think you're fake, cause you stole my heart, trapped my soul like a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star, a superstar, cause you're my star.
Alright, we're gonna give this a shot. It's been crashing a lot, so it has, specifically and exclusively with OBS. So I'm not entirely sure how this is gonna go. If it crashes again, I'm afraid I'll just have to call it because it's just been acting up. It's only OBS. So we'll just try our best and see how it goes, alright? I'm not hopeful though. Alright, let's see if I can get music up in here. I'm so wary of, you know, launching new programs just in case that's the thing that sets it off, just piling on the, you know, to-do list. Alright. We've only gotten, you know, just don't get your hopes built up. It very well might crash again. Alright, this is the place we left off at last time. I was gonna stream. I was gonna work on it off the stream, but I decided maybe just to do another stream, working on the same area, just so you could get another look maybe at how the place you know, transformed over time. My god, it is like walking on digital eggshells right now, because I just feel like if I load in just another cell, the entire computer's gonna crash. So, you know, keep your fingers crossed, and I do mean keep them crossed throughout the entirety of the stream. I don't care how much it hurts you, just keep them crossed. Alright. Our new model for trees in Blackwood being worked on. We've gotten a load of new trees, so we have, and I'm actually getting some more in. I think I'm the most spoiled landscaper in terms of trees, because all the other landscapers have like maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 tree types to work with. After this next batch of new trees comes in, I'll have like 13, 14 new types of trees, so I'll be spoiled for choice, and I do really intend to use them, you know, wisely. Is this also being restreamed on Mixer? It might be, actually. I'm still using the exact same stream key, so yeah. I actually haven't even, like, I've only recently just heard of Mixer, and yeah, I have no opinion whatsoever, because I mean, I only just started using Twitch with this team, so everybody's competing now. Well, it might be translated into different languages. If any of you can remember, I'm not fully sure on the extent, but if any of you had if any of your languages were brought in the original Oblivion, then we can take those same audio files in those languages and use them as well. I actually think I remember like a fact. I think it was the Spanish dub of Oblivion mistranslated something. I think it was the word train. They meant to use the they were referring to like training, like what fighters do. I think it was particularly the fighters at the arena. And for some reason the word for training, or the word for train, was given the actual word for a train, as in a locomotive. since the word is different in Spanish for to train and a train. And I figure that's one thing we would probably... I'm not actually sure if Spanish ever did have a dub. Does anyone know what dubs Oblivion had? Did it actually have any dubs? Maybe it was just text. Do you guys have modders that are solely focused on quest designs, and if so, how much of the original quests are already implemented in the game so far? We have only one guy, unfortunately, working on the quests. We aren't, as far as I know, we aren't trying to literally recreate every single one of them, like, one by one. What we're trying to do is we're trying to work on the tools that will transfer them from Oblivion to Skyrim quite seamlessly. That way we don't have to do it, you know, quest by quest, because that will take a very long time. So that's what that one guy's working on, the tools rather than the actual task itself. It was only text in Spanish? Yeah. Yeah, that might have been it, because I figure if that, like, if that train mistranslation had made it into a dub, that wouldn't really make sense, so I figure it was maybe just a... subs. Can you reduce the chat cooldown at all? It's a bit much. Dude, I'm not gonna... I'll sit closer to the microphone, but I'm not gonna mess with OBS since it's been temperamental and it's been crashing my computer. I'm especially not gonna mess with it as it's currently streaming, so I don't want to anger it. The OBS god is right now cutting me some slack. I bet it'll crash just as I said that. But, yeah. I don't really want to... I'll make sure to sit close. Oh, wait. You said the chat cooldown. Aren't I a fucking idiot? I figured you meant... reduce the chat cooldown? Oh, God, no. No. Trust me. Last time it was way too much for me to keep up with. The chat cooldown is... I'm sorry to say this to the guys over at YouTube, but you're a bunch of animals, and I gotta just keep you reined in a little bit with that chat cooldown, because if I don't, all hell will break loose. You guys know how you're like, what you're like. Meanwhile, Twitch over here is just sitting quietly, like the good child. leave a bit there. Did I just call you animals? Yes, YouTube, I called you animals. Don't take offense. You guys know what you're like. What are you guys most in need of? I'm a C# developer as a day job, but I'd love to ramp up on whatever you guys need to help out. We have a volunteer form, and usually if you volunteer for things like coding, you get answered pretty damn quickly because we're in we're in need for it. I think the specifics in what we require is on the volunteer form on our website. Is this comparable to the workflow Bethesda uses to do world building? I'm not. Well, I don't work for Bethesda, so I can't be entirely sure their methods. What I do know is they. Some people might not know this about Oblivion's world, but it was, whenever it was being developed, it was originally procedurally generated. So they first, I don't know. I'm not a coder either, so I don't know the right the right language for it. But they basically set out a bunch of templates, place a bunch of... I think one of the templates I kind of recognized is place a bunch of tiny little rocks around a boulder. See when you notice it, it's like copy and paste. And that's basically what the procedural generation did. It placed all the rocks and trees and everything for them. I'm not sure about the actual what you see what I'm doing here, where I'm texturing the landscape with different textures. I don't know if the procedural generation did that for them originally. So what they originally did was they, did the procedural generation and then went in afterwards and worked on, the more unique areas. So if there was parts of Oblivion that kind of felt, I don't know, not copy and pasted, but a little generic, that may have been the reason why. I hope your grass guy is really good. Most games don't focus on grass, and to be honest, if it's done correctly, it seriously makes the game pop even more. Oh, dude, we totally agree. Our grass guy hasn't really started yet, and I really cannot wait for them to start because I despise the grasses in my area. Honestly, see, if you see the grasses in my area, they are not final. They are, in fact, I'm pretty sure 100% of the grasses will get scrapped in my area because they're just so god dang awful looking. I mean, you can't see any grasses here because, well, for one, the grasses in this editor, they're a bit crazy. Whenever I'm trying to paint a little road in between grass, the grass just overflows over the road. It's a little crazy, so I have to paint the road first while there's no grass around, and then I have to paint the grass in afterwards. I mean, if I go over here, you can see how ugly the grass is. It's just, ugh, it's terrible looking. It's awful. I'm pretty sure it's still the grass from original Oblivion, so of course it needs replaced. You guys doing anything big in terms of animation, or are you putting Are you pulling as much animation from Skyrim as possible? I'm actually, I don't know the exact wording on it, but I'm pretty sure our mod's done something that no mod has ever done before, or we've achieved something in modding that hasn't been possible before with Skyrim, and that's custom skeletons with. I'm not talking about, you know, skeleton creatures. I'm talking about skeleton rigs, which basically means, like, if you were to port like a new 3D model of a creature into Skyrim, it would have to use like a pre-existing skeleton model or a skeleton rig. That's why if you see like mods that add in, say, an ogre, you'll notice the ogre is using the same animations as the, say, the giants. They'll have those same big club stomps that fly up and, you know, into space. If there's a mod that adds like a what's one? Say the mods that added like goblins as well. You notice they use the exact same animations as like the Falmer. But what we've managed to do is we've managed to find a way to make or to support custom skeletons now. And that means you'll be able to see brand new animations. So I think in terms of creatures, we're trying to get it. I think we're trying to redo the creature animations. I think I heard it a little while ago. At least it's what we aim to do. We hope to redo the actual player walking animations as well. Because there's something about Skyrim's walking animations. I still think they look good, but they look a bit, you know, hardy. He kind of, you know, the main player kind of walks like a Nord, like a big, you know, bulky, muscly Nord. Something about Oblivion makes me feel like we should change that to something a little bit more refined, you know? Walk like an Imperial. Even if you're not an Imperial in the game. But by God damn it, if you're in Cyrodiil, you better walk like a damn Imperial or get out. At least make each race have its own walk. That could be nice. Dude, that is way too much work for us to do. We do another big thing we're focusing on is we don't want. I've forgotten the term for it. We don't want to do any feature creeping. If you don't know what feature creeping is, Star Citizen is the definition of feature creeping. Where instead of getting a game idea, writing on a board, this is our to-do list to make the game. Instead of that, you just keep adding. It's like, oh, we'll add this into the game, we'll add this into the game, we'll add this into the game, and suddenly the to-do list doesn't, you know, get completed. It just gets longer and longer and longer. You know, that's why you don't have Star Citizen yet, because they have too much money. I never thought a game could have too much money, but Star Citizen is too much money because now they want to do everything. So that's one thing we're trying to avoid with Skyblivion. We want to get this game out, and I'm sure you guys will agree. You don't want us trying to, you know, make every tiny little detail amazingly perfect with microscopic detail. Otherwise, it's never going to come out, and you guys will just be, you know, weeping and wallowing in your own filth. So will we. So we're just going to do the best job we can, but get it out and not, you know, focus too much on things that don't necessarily need to be. You know, we believe in the principle of art is never finished. It's only ever abandoned. D keys of the floating trees. It's not D keys floating trees anymore. There's no more floating trees in my areas. I've gotten rid of them. Now it's D keys, Cypress knees. If you don't know what Cypress knees are, Cypress knees are these things over here. These cypress roots sticking out of the ground. They're called cypress knees. Sooner the better before Bethesda decides to order a cease and desist. Bethesda will not order a cease and desist. They won't. We're safe. They have given us their blessing. In fact, I believe Kyle met with a few of Bethesda employees. I don't think they were like anyone, you know, that high up, but he met with a few Bethesda employees, I think on the publishing side, at Gamescom. I've seen too many amazing projects get squashed. I'm actually trying to think of like, cause I'm not too good at remembering these. I'm trying to think of like the big projects that like ours that were announced and cancelled. You can't really count the Capital Wasteland anymore since those guys are back up. I remember when Oblivion came out, there was a mod to remake Morrowind in the Oblivion engine. I don't think that ever got finished. That, when people say that, that kills me inside. That really does kill me inside when people say more Oblivion never got finished, because it did. Like, you can go... Huh, that's a weird one. Alright, I didn't actually crash that time. For some reason, OBS just sort of disconnected. It wasn't a crash, it just disconnected. So I'm still technically back up. Yeah, okay. I have no idea what the hell is going on. Like, I noticed, like, the kilobits per second sort of thing was kind of in the red, and then it just sort of dropped out, but it's in the green now, and I don't know. OBS is she's unstable. She's been unstable a while now. I'm not like my last stream. My last stream went completely fine up until the ending, which like the entire development part went completely fine. It wasn't until I wanted to jump in game and show you guys Blackwood, that's when the crashes started. So I'm unsure if I will be able to show you guys in-game stuff afterwards. I will obviously, if we lost up until then, I'll certainly try, but I don't make any promises. Would you all consider doing this for Arena or Daggerfall? Daggerfall's already being remade in Unity, and it's almost complete, if I believe. If you're talking about a remaster, that is, but if you're specifically talking about a remaster in Skyrim's engine, that's not doable, especially not for Daggerfall. At least, if we were to remake Daggerfall in Skyrim's engine, it wouldn't be a remaster, it would be a lesser game than Daggerfall, because we would just strip. I mean, we've actually done like a good bit of. If you think about the amount of things that was in Oblivion that won't be in this because of like the engine not supporting it anymore, like there's a good deal of stuff stripped out from Oblivion that we would kind of rather keep in, but Daggerfall is a whole other story. I mean, Daggerfall had languages in it, I think. We had to actually learn some languages. Daggerfall also had a open world that was the size of, I think it was around the size of Great Britain. So, yeah, in terms of recreating that in Skyrim's engine, not a damn chance. For starters, it wouldn't even. I don't even think Skyrim's engine supports a world size that big. And we do not have the landscapers. I can't even fathom how many landscapers it would take to get that out in an acceptable time. What is getting ripped out of Skyblivion? It's mostly just like, you know, the attributes and stuff like that. I mean, acrobatics was taken out of Skyrim, so that won't make it in. You know, certain things like that. But there are certain things that was taken out of Skyrim. Or sorry, there was some things that was taken out of Oblivion that didn't make it into Skyrim that will be put back in. For instance, we will indeed have spell creation again. So you'll be able to make those stupid, ridiculously overpowered spells that, you know, you could have as much fun with if you wanted to. Is there going to be a noticeable difference between in Colovian and Nibonese culture? That's actually a question we've been getting a lot of, surprisingly. We'll try to do our best and sort of show the difference. I think maybe we can do that with just things like clothing. We can't go too deep lore-wise into the difference. That would just require, you know, things like voice acting and stuff like that. Will class mods work with Skyblivion? If you're talking about a Skyrim mod, it might be compatible. That sounds like something that might be compatible. I'm not 100% sure. Can you just create mods for that as downloadable content? Well, the thing is, we can't actually add in things like acrobatics because, like the skills and the skill trees and stuff like that. That's one of the few parts of Skyrim that isn't moddable. Like attributes and skills and everything. That's like hard coded into the game. We can't change that. Otherwise, someone would have made an acrobatics mod that's the same as Oblivion's. I think there is. Any mod that has like attempted it, it's not exactly the same at all. There are some secrets you can only find in the game with acrobatics. We're gonna do our best to find everything that everything like that and make it compatible with Skyrim's engine. I'm actually wondering what type of things is it that only acrobatics can help you with? Acrobatics is needed for the Boots of Spring-Heeled Jack to make any sense. Not necessarily. We can sort of enchant the Boots of Spring-Heeled Jack to basically avoid any height damage. So what are you thinking price-wise? 0? It's free. Interested in how you guys do the Boots of Spring-Heeled Jack. There have been some mods that obviously we can't use something like, you know, the ethereal effect that ethereal shout has, because that makes you invincible altogether. But I have played mods before that add in like spells where you can cast sort of like an area spell. It's like a rune on the ground, and if you land within that rune, your I don't know, fall damage doesn't take. So I'm pretty sure there is ways we can make the Boots of Spring-Heeled Jack work. Are you guys going to reuse Patrick Stewart's voice, or is that not allowed? I'm actually unsure about that myself. We haven't been told that we're not allowed to use those voice acts. those voice files. I'm not entirely. I think the reason why we used Daniel Hodge, I believe it is. I believe the reason we used his voice in the trailer instead of Patrick Stewart's is because the lines are actually a little bit different. We wanted him to just do a couple of lines for us. The lines are just ever so slightly different and fit the trailer a bit better. So I'm not entirely sure if we will have to reuse it. Will Skyblivion have spellcasting work like in Oblivion? Yes, it will. Provided we actually do achieve this, and I don't think it will be too hard for us to achieve this. We will actually have a better sort of magic system than Oblivion and Skyrim really put together, because we'll be replacing the shout mechanic with the quick casting spells, which means theoretically you could have a spell in one hand, a spell in the other, and another spell as a quick cast. So you could have 3 spells equipped at once, which, you know, if you want to play as a mage, that's really damn handy. If the sigil stones will be in this. Yeah, of course. I'll have the sigil stones. What about those Skyblivion exclusive quests? I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you consider replacing Vanilla Monomarco with the modded version? I don't know which one that is. Is this stage 2 of the 4-stage landscaping Kyle talked about? I kind of do my stage 1 and stage 2 at the same time. This is for the streams. See, if you guys were to watch me do only stage 1 landscaping, you would be bored out of your minds, because it would just be me shaping the land. Stage 2 is then kind of, you know, placing the rocks on the land, maybe the trees and stuff like that. You know, and the higher the stages go up, the more detail. So stage 4 would be like placing down the what do you call it? Easter eggs, the flora, the harvestable plants, that sort of stuff. But in streams, just to make sure it's, you know, a little bit entertaining, not boring for you guys, I kind of go at, you know, at whatever pace I want. So I go from shaping the land, stage 1, you know, placing rocks and trees, stage 2. So I kind of just, I focus on one area for the streams and get it good looking. So you guys can see how, you know, an area transforms.